to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. I have to say I'm grinning ear to ear because I'm so excited to share this conversation with Katie Krimitsos with you today. Katie is a good friend of mine. She's an incredible businesswoman. She's a wonderful wife and mother who is using her gifts to empower and support women all around the world. Katie is the founder of the Women's Meditation Network, which is a collection of 20 podcasts that reach over 4 million downloads per month. Did you hear me? 4 million per month. Podcast titles include sleep meditation, sleep sounds, anxiety meditation, ambient sounds, and many more. Check our show notes for the links to all of her podcasts. I'm sure there is one there that you will find helpful. As a mom, wife, animal lover, and entrepreneur, Katie brings a relatable and authentic presence to her work. She openly shares the wisdom she's gained from her own experiences, using her writing to create a sense of connection and understanding among women. Katie's meditations are designed to help women navigate the joys and challenges of life, offering tools for self-discovery, intuition, and intentional living. As you'll hear Katie describe it, meditation is a powerful tool that can support you through every season of your life and your business. It helps you create a space for self-reflection, allowing you to gain clarity on what you truly need at any given moment. And sometimes the universe has a way of providing exactly what you need when you're ready for it. I am so delighted to welcome Katie back to the show. Here we go. Okay, I don't know where to start. Part of me is like, hi, Katie. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. And the other part of me is, you guys got to go to YouTube because we are like our smiles are bigger than the entire screen. We are like this self, and cross love admiration society, Katie and I, since we met 100 years ago, which we will link in the podcast when she was on the show back in 2016 or 17. And I'm like, okay, get serious. Hi, Katie. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business.
I think it's a testament for how much of ourselves we see in each other and honor in each other. Yes. Holy moly, because you and I have been in this podcasting kind of life for quite some time together.
Yes, I know. And it's so funny because I know I've told you this story, but I will tell it to you and tell all of my friends listening. I started podcasting 2016. I went to Podcast Movement in 2016. And I remember walking by and seeing you. And I was like, that's Katie Krimitsos. I was like, and I was at Podcast Movement by myself, and I'm like walking around going, oh my God, did you know that's a Katie over there? And I listened to your Biz Women Rock podcast like on overdrive. When I was building, the plan for the podcast in 2015, I was listening to you. And, you know what, Katie? I remember somehow I just said hello, or you might have looked at me and smiled. And you know what? You can just write the book from there. We've been together ever since.
You're just such an easy person to love. And you know why? It's because you're just so unapologetically yourself. And I think that's what had us laughing right before this.
Throw that right back. Yes.
Which is so beautiful. And yes, we have been alongside each other in this podcasting journey ever since.
Yes, yes. And I'm so glad that, we've had the chance to meet in real life. And you were the impetus for that. And I don't know that I've actually ever thanked you for that. I'm not the person that will go out of my way and say, oh, I know a person that lives in that city. Let me reach out. I'm not. I stay in my lane. I do my things, head down. And the first time I was coming to Tampa to do a keynote, it was 2017. So we met in 2016.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, girl, I see you're going to be in Tampa. I live right here. Want to get together? And I'm like, I love Katie, but I don't do this stuff. I don't do coffee.
But we did. We met right
did.
out on the
Because
water.
I was like, you know what? This is a good human. And that really was the beginning of all the meaningful things. It really was. Yeah. And then last year, when I had to go to Tampa for my niece's wedding, I was like, hey, Katie, I'm coming in. Now I'm like, oh, I get this now. This is how friendship works, sweetie.
Yes. And we had a great time. We had good coffee. So
yes. And the matcha tea at your special place, right? Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Like I said, it's a love fest. But the love fest for me is based in a very deep respect for you and what you do. First, when you came out into the world as a businesswoman, teaching the rest of us women how to be businesswomen. But now, the last several years, you've morphed into this journey of wellness and helping women have a well-designed life, another synergy of ours.
Yeah.
And you do it, through your meditation podcast, you do it by being who you are. But Katie, talk to us about what this work means to a well-designed life and helping women achieve this.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, for me, it means that I can pour my gifts and my heart out to the women of the world who are listening to my podcast, which I'll explain a little bit about later. And I can do that in a way that really touches their soul. So what I mean by that is, as LuAnn had mentioned, years ago in 2014 is when I had the Biz Women Rock podcast. So I OG podcaster. And then in 2018, kind of at the height of the success of that whole business and show, I became pregnant with my second daughter and immediately knew that I was done with it. And I'll make the very long story short, I basically transitioned out of that and was in this, like, what am I going to do? And I immediately knew, like, I want to have a meditation podcast. Yeah. And in 2018, if you looked up meditation and women in any podcast player, one podcast existed.
Whoa.
One. So I was like, okay,
there's a space.
There's a space here. I can't believe it. But I will take on that challenge. Like, I have something to say. I have good stuff to whisper to women through a meditation. I have really good words, affirming, positive, beautiful, loving words to share with them. I can package that in a meditation. And I can really offer a lot in this space. So in 2018, I launched my very first podcast, Meditation for Women. And fast forward, we now have 20 different podcasts that are a part.
Last time I talked to you about it was 8.
I know.
There's 20. And that was only a couple of months ago, girl.
I know. I move fast. But we have 20 podcasts, and we have meditation for women, sleep meditation for women, morning meditation for women, daily affirmations, sleep stories. Our last bundle of 5 podcasts are all kids specific: meditation for kids, sleep meditation for kids, sleep sounds for
new
kids.
Ones for me. I didn't know that one. Yeah.
So for me, what it has been, and that's been about 6 years now that I've been doing that, and it's gratefully grown. When you finally sort of like click into place.
Yes.
And everything, and you realize, like, oh my gosh, everything that I had been doing has led me up to being able to make it sink and sing here. That's what this company has been for me. So I'm a writer at heart. I feel like I'm a very good communicator in a way that really touches the listener, and she's able to hear my words and be like, yes, oh my gosh, that feels like a hug that I needed right now. And so I've sort of infused that in. Obviously, my career as a podcaster has come in handy, and that I wasn't starting from scratch. There's a lot of things that sort of anchored themselves here and has blown life into this. So, going from one podcast to 20, we get about 4 million downloads every single month across the network. We have about 140 million lifetime downloads, which puts me in the top 0.1% of podcasters. And I don't say that to brag. I say that to put it in perspective, that this why my big why behind why I'm offering meditations and why I'm creating these meditations for women is because I have seen meditation as a tool, one of the many tools, but a very powerful tool in my life to help me get to know myself, listen to my intuition, and then therefore, based on what my intuition is telling me, based on what my inner voice is telling me, I get to then make decisions that allow me to build and design my own well-designed life, my own well-designed business, right?
Yes, yes.
So for me, that's where the love really is, yes, I want a meditation that's going to help you sleep. Yes, I'm going to create meditations to help you lower your blood pressure and get you calm in a rough moment. But there's something deeper behind there. And it's really a tool for um, giving you easy, free access to a tool that allows you to get to know yourself.
So I love this because, of course, I've listened to your sleep meditations. That's where I'm like, okay, you know what, girl, let's get our friend over here. Let's help Katie put me to sleep here, right?
Yes.
Um, but I just heard there, Katie, and you know that I started meditating when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
My aunt used to do guided meditations for us, all of us laying on the floor. My whole childhood and teen years were okay. We're at Aunt Honey's house. Everybody lay on the floor, and she guide us through a meditation.
Oh, that's so special.
Yes, yes. And also, of course, and then you would take it back. So I can recall my entire childhood just like going to level, we would call it, and breathing deep and then, doing our affirmations. Of course, it was presented to us as children with different language, right? But
Hmm.
the translation is the exact same thing. That they were teaching us breathing techniques, they were teaching us visualization and affirmation techniques and so forth. So it's second nature to me. But you know what I just heard in there? As much I'm a little embarrassed because what's interesting is using meditation as a mechanism, whether it is to sleep or it is to calm yourself or to center yourself, is different than using meditation as a discovery tool. And
Mm-hmm.
what I'm like, my brain is banging around is, as a child and young adult, I did use it more as a discovery tool. And now I'm just like, girl, you just need to go to sleep. Put Katie on.
Which is fine. I'll take that too. Because, well, truthfully, they actually work hand in hand. Because if you're in an anxious moment, for example, so we have a whole podcast called Meditation for Anxiety, very popular podcast. And we have a lot of people listening in those really high stress moments. We have a podcast called Panic Attack Meditation, specifically for those very high intense moments.
Wow.
If you can use meditation as a practical tool to transcend those moments and to move through those moments, you learn something about yourself on the other end of it. So they're really, all of that kind of goes hand in hand. If you're not sleeping well, you're not going to be well.
Right,
So
right, right, right.
you need, they sort of have this double effect of being able to sort of help with the very earthly needs that we have in the moment.
And
And
tactical
also,
strategies like to attend
yeah,
and address those earthly needs at the moment, right?
exactly.
Mhm.
And hand in hand with that comes this ability to have a little bit more self-awareness, to have a
Mhm.
little bit more knowing of who we are.
And so that you've said a couple of times now, knowing who we are. So is it something that it simply with practice and quieting your mind, or are there meditations that Katie you specifically craft to, trigger questions for us or prompts for us to know who we are?
All of the above.
Okay.
So, yes, there are what I would call your general meditations, more popular meditations that are like breathing techniques, right? And in those breathing techniques, in these the sort of a construction of a meditation that allows a little bit more space between the thoughts, a little bit more opportunities to observe the thoughts, and therefore you're the observer and not the thought. Like,
Mm.
there are very deliberate techniques that we're doing within these meditations in order to give you that opportunity to experience that. And much of my meditations are so I have other writers at this point as well. The ones that I still write are very poetic. I have definitely evolved as a writer in this process over these past 6 years. They're very poetic, and they're done with the intention of really connecting the listener to that emotion, whether it
Mm.
was a high or a low emotion,
Mm.
allowing them to be seen and okay and
Mm.
validated in that, and then
Yes.
working through it. So I'll give you this example. It's a very practical example. The other, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. And whatever, was something the 5-year-old did just put me over the edge because it was like, the 10th time that she did it. And I had a mom moment of just a primal scream, like primal, like not at her. I like legit turned away and did this primal scream into the heavens, right? Like it was bad.
It's so true, though. We've
It's
all
so
been
true.
there.
It's so true. I scared my kid. Like it was
Oh,
scary, right? And so now I have to heal that.
yeah.
So I wrote this poem that I will turn into a meditation. This is generally how my meditations get made
From real life.
from real life. And it was called, uh, oh my gosh. Oh man, it was such a good title. What the heck was the title? Like I blew up at my kid today. That's what it was
Oh.
called.
Oh, okay.
So it was called I Blew Up at My Kid Today. I'm actually going to read you just the first little part because it'll make sense.
Yes.
I blew up at my kid today. I screamed deep from my core. I blew up at my kid today. Couldn't hold it anymore. It shook the room to silent. Her eyes were wide and wet. I knew that I had messed up and filled with deep regret. I took deep breaths in front of her and hugged her with such love. I'm sorry for yelling loudly. Please forgive what I have done. The
Oh,
rest of that
I have
continues on.
literally, like, my body is tingling,
Yeah.
Katie.
Yeah.
Literally, my body is tingling. I am not exaggerating one bit. From the top of my head all the way down my legs and my back, I'm tingling. I mean, anybody that's raised a kid knows that exact moment.
Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly.
and what I want to say to you is, and I know this is why you do it, because if I'm 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 viscerally, I can never say that word. I'm like literally reacting to it, and it's probably been 30 years since I've done that. Okay. And I can imagine if I'm the mom who did that day.
Right.
Like it's like, okay, this is real life. I am not alone.
Yeah.
This isn't desirable. I don't want this behavior in myself,
Right.
but it is human and I am part of the
Exactly.
human race, right?
So that process is what I end up going through continually in that poem, which is like, hey, I know there's something here. Let me look inside. It's fear, like
Yeah.
really like making things right with my kid, but then really having to ask, why did that just happen? So basically in each of these, I'm I'm emoting and giving an opportunity for the listener to connect with a very human experience that most likely I have had and I know they've had,
Yeah.
and then taking them through the journey of transcending it and processing and then transcending it.
Yes.
So, and then I just happen to package that in a meditation. That's
Right, right,
really
right,
what it
right.
is.
Yeah.
So I read that poem. About once or twice a month, I'll get on the mic and I'll just sort of riff it won't be a meditation. I just sort of like riff and say hello to everyone. And earlier this month in May, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm talking about that. And I read this poem and I said, I want you to know that in our desire to build and grow and expand into these optimal lives that we really want, there are going to be really low moments. Let me share with you one I had. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
read that
yeah, yeah.
poem. I had so many people reach out to me.
Oh, I'm
Oh my
sure.
God. I just experienced that. Thank you so much. Like, cause that for me is very healing. And when you can heal that, give yourself grace, learn from it, move beyond it, that to me is a tool for self-awareness that allows us to not be held down by the guilt or the shame of what it was and the humanness that we're experiencing in moments, and allows us instead to open a space to this deep spiritual person that we are. And it allows that intuition to speak to us, and then we can then move forward based on what that intuition tells us, because she's
Mm.
always right. She's
Yeah.
always
Oh,
right.
yeah. The goddess knows. Don't go against the goddess. She
Yeah.
knows.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love this because, by coincidence, you select an example of what happens in interaction with a parent and a child, right? But like either A or B. Either you're a parent who also runs a business, and so the frustration at the business is now planted on the kid, or you're a parent who runs a business and just had this crazy moment where the kid will not leave the shoes on. Like my daughter, I can remember when she was 3 years old, there was one day, every single time I get her dressed, Vinny is out of town. I get her dressed. Well, this day is seared into my brain, Katie. I get her
Obviously.
dressed. I do. I can picture it where it was in the house. She's 3.5 years old. I get her dressed and I'm like, okay, mommy's got to brush her teeth. I just got to finish up. I would run from the bathroom to go to my room to, like, I don't know, put the clothes on. And I come out and there's the sneakers off. I'm like, sweetie, got to put the sneakers on. Leave the sneakers on, mommy. Go back in the bathroom, do something else, fix my hair, do makeup, come back, sneakers off. Like literally like 5 times. And then I had that moment that you just had, and I lost my guts on it. I'm like, why don't you let the sneakers on? And Christy and I have talked about this. She's like, Mom, you're so scarred by this, and I don't remember it.
Thank you. Thank you for that miracle, right?
Right? I'm like, really? Because I have been sorry for it for 31 years. But the thing is, my point is that if I'm accurate with myself, and I think most of us need to be, yes, it's frustrating if a kid is going to take their sneakers off 5 times. But really what I know is, even when I go back to my memory of it, it's because I had to be at an appointment. I had to get to a sales call to knock on somebody's door and say, hi, I'm LuAnn from WindowWorks. It really, and that's the crazy part of it. There's another day you're like, you silly goose, putting your sneakers off every time. Let mommy do it again. Like some days you show up with patience. They don't know what days, right? And so for us as business owners, whether you are taking care of your own parents, you're taking care of children, or you just have a big team, like you're taking care of a lot of people. And I think what you're saying is you got to take care of yourself first, or you have no juice for everybody else.
100%. And I feel like, you could bring this scenario right into business, in that you can make a big mistake in business, and you can choose to either kind of, ride the path of shame and blame and make yourself wrong for it for a long time. And the universe will respond. You're going to get more of that. The business ain't going to be so good. Or you can do the hard work to come inside and say, let's unpack what is here, what's going on, what do I need to do? So, I feel like, it's about taking care of ourselves. But it's so funny because in Mental Health Awareness Month that we're in right now, there's so much, the language is like, take care of yourself, be kind to your mind. And that's great. But you can't answer the question of how do I take care of myself until what do I need? Like, what do I need? And to me, that comes down to knowing thyself. What do you need right now? And I'll give you this example. Talk about Vinny being out of town. My husband is out of town right now. He's out of the country. I'm single momming it for like 10 days, right? And I'm in the first third of that.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Hang on, kid. Hang on.
I know. Okay. So I'm a couple days into it. I'm already kind of losing my goose, right? And it's the kids are extra needy because daddy's not here to kind of balance things
Transition,
out.
yep.
Yeah. I don't get, daddy usually picks up kids a couple days a week. So like now I'm like, or I don't have that extra time for the work that I usually would have. So there's just a lot of things adjusting. So I reach out to one of my girlfriends, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And by the way, super important. You want to talk about mental health. Who's in your circle?
You need a tribe of women.
On them.
Yes.
So I reached out to my girlfriend, Jess, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going nuts. Boom, 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 boom. Here's all the things, right? And what's her reaction? Her reaction is immediately, oh my gosh, girl, I'm so sorry. What can I do for you? And I was like, nothing. I just need you to listen. So sure enough, this morning she texted me. She's like, I'm going to be in your area around this time. I'm bringing you lunch. What can I bring you? And I'm like, oh my God, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I say yes. That's the thing. Like, I know I need that. Like,
say yes.
The worker in me is like, oh, but I need that time to do A, B, and C to get those tasks done. But I was like, that's actually not what I need. What I need is a little TLC, right? I need a little
adult
love.
Time, a little girl time, a little like, yep, I got 90 more days with these kids, and 1 hour with my friend will be really great.
That will be so life-giving. So not only does she come over, and it was right before this, she came over, she brought me lunch. I was getting ready to come on with you, and because I told her, I was like, I have an interview at 1:30. So she's like, okay, you go to your interview. I'm washing your dishes because I know you hate that. And I was like, no, 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 no. She's like, let me do this. Let me wash your dishes.
Oh,
And she just washed my dishes and left while we were
wow.
talking. And I'm like, so caring for oneself requires you know yourself well enough to be able to answer the question, what do I need right now? And it's okay if it's not what's quote unquote expected. What I needed today is I needed some TLC. I needed my
Yes.
girlfriend to love on me, and I needed someone to do my damn dishes that I hate doing. I literally, the dishes are my husband's job. And last night I texted him the picture of the massive mountain of dishes. And I was like, I hate dishes. When are you coming home?
That's it. I miss your person, but I actually miss my
Oh, yeah,
dishwasher as
pretty
much.
much. Oh, yeah. And I miss you too. Love ya.
What I love though, Katie, is like when you're saying like know yourself
Yeah.
and also like you reaching out and
Yes.
it's and the thing is too, it's like you didn't reach out and you really didn't reach out to say come help me, right?
Right.
But even just saying I don't need help, I just need to talk, I need to vent, I need to just share it. Now that's something that we have to take ownership to do for ourselves.
Yes.
And not every friend is going to jump in the car, bring us lunch and make us dishes. Some friends are going to say, okay, I'm going to give you an ear for 20 minutes. It's what
Exactly.
you asked for, what you needed. And
Right.
that will be like, she was like, cherry on the top. You
I
know what I'm
know.
saying?
I know.
But, and then the secondary to your point, and I want to emphasize it, is saying yes, thank you. Okay. Yes, thank
Yes.
you. Okay. I could order DoorDash and get lunch, but you know what? It's going to feel more special with you bringing it to me and me getting to share it with you. That's a
Exactly.
whole lot different than chomping it down, looking at the computer, writing, whatever for the website, right?
Right, right, right. Being able to receive, like legit being able
Yes.
to receive from
Yes.
people who love you and who want and who get filled to give for
Yeah.
giving to you. So that's really important. So again, I feel like um putting time in, if we come back to the main desire, which is I want to build a well-designed business, I want to build a well-designed life, then it comes down to what are you doing to get to know yourself so that you
Mm.
know what you need. You know the answers already. The answers actually are not outside of you. The answers are all within you. So, when we talk about taking care of our holistic selves, our minds, our physical health, our mental health, and then when we talk about taking care of our business and all the different things that makes our business healthy, the answers to all of those things are all within us. So what are we
Mm.
doing? What are you doing to give yourself that space to know yourself?
Mm.
Meditation, great tool. Obviously, I love it. Journaling, another great tool. Something I've been doing ever since I was a little kid. I love journaling out what it is, who I am, ideas I'm having, questions I want to ask myself to figure out. Um, Being in nature, huge,
Mm. Yeah.
huge way to be able to get to know yourself. Moving, some people call them moving meditations, but just moving, like
Yes.
running, working out, being physical, like having some sort of a movement that gets your body and mind in sync. These are all real, talking things out with a trusted friend, like being able to talk out your heart and being able to have it be received by somebody who loves and cares for you and can hold that space for you. These are all really good practical tools to help yourself get to know yourself so that you can know exactly what to do to build your well-designed life and to build your well-designed business.
And you know what I'm hearing? I mentioned to you a few moments ago that I think through my younger years, I was much more conscious of utilizing meditation as a space to know and to hear my intuition is really what I just like. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
like, do you do that now? Right. And I think everything you just said, when you think about moving your body or walking or being in nature and all those things, what I'm making the connection now is I do all of those things, right? I'm going to walk at the beach every single week, winter, spring, summer, or fall. I will, it's 18 degrees out. Vinny looks at me like, you're a lunatic. I'm like, but I have enough clothes on, so it's fine. You know what I mean? And I love walking on the beach when it's cold, right? It's
Yes.
crazy, right?
I have no idea what that's like, but that sounds
Yes,
lovely.
right? You Florida girl, right? You know what it is too about it is it's 3 seasons of the year. This is true, but it's empty. right? Like if I
That's
walk on the
so
beach in
powerful.
July, it's like, okay, run around that sandcastle. It's interesting and beneficial in a different way,
Mhm.
not in that I'm disconnecting way, because you can't disconnect. You'll like walk over 2-year-olds, you'll knock them over and into the surf, and that's not going to be a good scene. So, but the thing is, what I'm saying is I just had the aha. I am doing my at minimum 7 minutes of moving my body every single day since June 25th of last year. I now have I always had a trampoline, a rebounder. Now I have one in all 3 locations. I come out of a podcast interview, I go on the rebounder,
I
right?
love it.
All the things. And so I've added back in a lot of the old LuAnn um, wellness habits that I had practiced without even thinking about a practice. It was like, brush your teeth, you're going to do this. It's exactly how I lived. But you know what, Katie? I just heard is the taking time out for not sleep meditation, go to sleep, LuAnn, but just meditation exploration.
Mhm.
That's giving the place in my mind for all of the thoughts that come during all of those activities to show up and, like you said, contribute to knowing what I need better.
Mhm.
Because those activities spar lots of ideas,
Mhm.
lots of ideas.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing and seeing now that the meditation mechanism could be the place for the almost like the because what I know will be the really important things that my goddess voice wants me to know will bubble up in that complete quiet and rest, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she bubbles up. She bubbles up all the time. It's
Oh,
just a matter
yeah,
of
like,
our
she's, like, banging on my head, like, 24/7, but you gotta get a little peace here, you know what I mean? So the important
Yeah.
things can come through, right?
Yeah, and, let me make sure you hear me on this, like, meditation and I say this because there are a lot of people who get stuck on, "I can't sit still for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes,
Oh, right.
and I can't keep my mind blank for that long, and it's so frustrating," and yes, it can be, but, it's not our job to stop our mind from moving, it's not our job to stop our mind from thinking, the brain's job is to make thoughts, right? Our job in these meditations or this meditation time is to simply observe those thoughts as they come
Yes.
through, to become the observer, as I had mentioned before, and to sort of allow them to sort of pass by like
Yeah,
clouds in the sky, right? And when
right.
you do that over and over again, I'll refer back to what I had said, you become the observer. And in that recognition that you are the observer of the thoughts and not the thought themselves, there's an enormous amount of space that gets created there, this sort of separation, right? And in that space is when you sort of have this, because if you naturally are saying, like, well, I'm not that thought, then who am I? Oh, I am LuAnn. That's who I am. So it sort of naturally gives shape and distinction to us, to our souls, to who we really
Yes.
are. And in that interaction, now we can start hearing your goddess. So you can start
Yes.
hearing that voice, right? So it just allows space for that voice to start coming through and start having you pay attention to it, or having it guide you to whatever needs to be done. And it also doesn't need to look perfect either. Like, and it doesn't need to look like what you traditionally think of as a meditation. Like lately, I do a lot of running as meditation for me. Like, it is very powerful for me to do running lately. It hasn't always been the case. And sometimes it's like walking on the beach. That's a big one for me, or walking around in a nature preserve. So lately I've been going and running in this nature preserve that's pretty close to us. And it's important that I'm running in this nature preserve on sand with tree roots coming out versus running on the road, right? Like,
Concrete
there's
with
not
noise
that
and
not that
yeah,
one is better than the other,
right.
but like
For you in this season, this is
exactly.
serving you at a higher level.
Because I'm seeing Mother Nature all around me, all of a sudden I get really clear that, like, I'm just one tiny small speck of dust in this entire vast, huge universe, right? And simultaneously, there's no one else like me. So it's this really beautiful, humbling moment that
Hmm.
brings me back into just like whatever seems so important, and oh my god, life is going to fall apart if I don't fix this one thing and do this perfectly. Like, all of a sudden, actually, that doesn't really matter. Everything's
Right.
going to be okay.
It'll
So it has
all
a
be okay.
huge calming effect, just seeing all the little critters running around and seeing the snakes cross the road today. um Jumping over them at some points.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that to me is, and in that, in the movement of that, my mind starts clearing. And I just had this giant aha today as I was running, like just that voice. Like sometimes she whispers, sometimes she screams. And today she screamed at me about something that I've been needing some clarity on. So for me, that was my meditation moment. So
Yes.
I tend to have a very loose description of what meditation actually is. Not everyone agrees with me on that, but that's what I see. Anything that allows um, us to really metaphorically slow down. I know I'm running here, but like metaphorically slow our minds down and observe and separate from these thoughts and come into who we truly are.
I 1000% agree with you. I mean, I've said it before, for 30 years, I had a practice of I moved my body 6 days a week. And most days it was twice in a day. So there were things that I did on the regular. Maybe 3 days a week I would run, 2 days a week I would swim laps. Maybe 4 days a week I did laps. One day I jumped the rope for a half hour, another day I ran. But almost always it was also complemented with a yoga session 2 or 3 nights a week.
Hmm.
Or they would be in the morning and I would go to the pool in the afternoon or the evening, right? And the thing is, having missed doing that, having not doing that now, I'm 1000% aware at a very real level that was meditation for me. I
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, what I also recognize is not that I'm not the most competitive person in the room and I wouldn't love a good game of kickball, but what I always gravitated to for 30 years was solo activities, riding
Mm,
the bike for 40 miles, going for 4, 5, 6 mile runs, swimming 50, 60, 80 laps, doing a yoga class. You are in your own brain for each of these
yeah.
activities.
Yeah.
And so I agree with moving meditation. And what I'm just saying, my own personal observation is I'm now not with all of those hours doing that, making time. I'm with the same hours, let's be
Yeah.
real. I'm just
Yeah.
not devoting them in the same ways.
Hmm.
And I'm also, I think maybe really what I'm just saying is maybe I'm learning in this conversation that I need to build in stillness, which I have
Mm,
not been doing. And
hmm.
really what it is now I'm keep having ahas, Katie. This is why I love talking to you. It's like, it's me now, my season, not advice
Yes.
for anyone else. It's like,
Yes.
oh, what you just said. It's like, what do I need? And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, sweetie,
You need a
you
little bit of
know,
stillness.
right? And it's
Yeah.
crazy. And so it's just the thing about it is to get that and to understand that it's whoever you are, whatever you're doing, what is it? Like, learn about who you are and what you need. And it will be different at different seasons of your life and different weeks or months too.
100%. That's so
Hmm.
true. I think that's the important thing to note is that it changes. We evolve, our
Yeah.
needs evolve. What we crave is different. How we need to be supported changes. The tools that we're using change. There have been
Yeah.
seasons of my life where I've been a 5 a.m. meditator for
Yeah.
45 minutes every single morning without fail. That ain't the season I'm in right
No,
now.
it's not.
I'm in a what I call a grab and go meditation season. Like when I'll have like I don't meditate in the traditional sense. I don't meditate every day. What I'll do is I just sort of have moments where I know I need to take 5 deep breaths.
Yeah.
Or something will be really, really intense and I'm holding like 12,000 layers of things on my shoulders. And I'm like, oh, I need to meditate because I can feel like the heaviness in my head and
Yes.
a meditation will clear that out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's about knowing yourself and knowing what it is you need in any given season or moment.
Yeah. And that's something I really want to make sure that we point out right here is that while you are the renowned worldwide expert on meditation, um, you are running a major business. This is not like, oh, I just show up and I read some quiet words.
No.
It's a major business behind you. And your husband, Chris, runs a major business. You're both entrepreneurs, two separate businesses and two little children. And so this isn't like, I'm at the season of my life where I can just like, and I know we talked about like yelling at the kids and, you're needing the lunch with your friend, but I need to not underestimate. This isn't like, well, I'm momming most of the time. And so when I need to run and I meditate, I've got the time. I know you are squeezing it in where I'm saying there's no time for it. I'm not squeezing it in.
Mm,
You have a lot on your shoulders and when you're coming to us, speaking to the entrepreneurs in my audience, you sit in that seat. It's
100%.
whether a
I am
designer's
there.
running a firm with, herself or himself or with
Yeah.
20 people, you're sitting in that seat with multiple employees, multiple initiatives.
Yep.
And the thing about the podcast is it's deadline driven. It is
Yeah.
deadline driven.
Yeah.
That is the thing. And I sold window treatments for 4 decades and quote unquote, like interior design, it's deadline driven. But it's not the same as Tuesday at 2 a.m. It has to be uploaded to the platform. It is just different,
Yeah.
So it's intense.
Yeah. No, thank you for identifying that. And that's very true. That probably can seem like it gets understated here, but yes, I'm running a media company, pretty significant media company here with multiple employees, many contractors. Single momming it in this particular moment. And yeah, there are a lot of, we were talking before about like, okay, I have a hard stop at this time because I got to go pick up kids. And you're like, I got to go pick up my grandkids. So that's actually works great. So
we're fitting this calm conversation into the things that we have to do today.
But see, that's also the point which is I want to give my energy, my time and my energy to the things that fill me up, the things that I really love. So I'm equal parts creative, writer. Let's talk about the touchy-feely stuff, and equal parts really sharp businesswoman. Let's talk about the details. What are the deadlines? Where do we need to go? What are the goals? Like you and I really connect on that because we're super. I am super, super driven ad nauseum. So all those parts live in me equally, and I want to give time to that. Being a working parent and somebody who has created a business from things that I love doing and is truly what I'm here to do in the world right now. I get equal amounts of gratification from that and equal amounts of gratification from being a mom and raising these 2 beautiful girls. And so I want to, and, spending time with my husband, like I want to make sure all the things that I say are important to me and fulfill me, I'm spending time there. So I'm okay, chopping out a chunk of my day in order to do X, Y, or Z. Or like on Monday, my kid had a field trip. So my work time legit was the hour and a half when in the car when she took a nap on the way home. Like, let me pull over, let me do my work for an hour and a half. And then I went back to work after kids went down that night. Like that was my work day. So, that's, and again, like there's no perfect way to do it. The perfect way lies within you in any given moment and what it is you need.
And you have to create the space to learn that. That is the thing. And that's where your meditations come in handy because it is the facilitation of, and sometimes it is the gentle nudge to remind every single one of us in whatever meditation you're addressing that, oh yeah, you're not alone. You're not the only unicorn that's ever yelled at your kids. You're not the only unicorn that's ever had a panic attack. You're not the only unicorn that's never not been able to fall asleep. Like these are universal emotions and feelings. And, let me, meaning you, help you process it, guide through it, and transcend it. I love it. I have a question for you before I let you go.
Yeah.
So 20 different meditation podcasts. Like I go to my app and I've got 2 or 3 of yours on my Apple on my iPhone, and so they're in my library. But is there a website that we could go to and see all of them, and we could be like, I would like I didn't realize you had done the kid ones, and I'm thinking, oh, my grandchildren could use these, so like let's get them on these.
Womensmeditationnetwork.com is my home base, so you could see all of them there. And then if you look up Women's Meditation Network on any podcast player, they all should come up. They should all kind of line up, and then they were really designed that way for you to pick and choose to subscribe to whichever ones really call to you and that you need.
Okay, good. Yeah. See, what I've done is I've downloaded the 2 or 3. So when I just go to my libraries out to the search. So that's good to know. I mean, Katie, this has been outstanding. I love our Voxers, our 90-hour long Voxers. I love when we connect in person. And I love this is, I think, the 3rd time you've been on the show.
I know.
So with the evolution of Katie is on this show, actually.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
different stages of your life.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
As we all evolve,
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
uh,
Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you.
thank you. My goodness, it was such a pleasure. I love this conversation and I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Katie is right. We are always evolving, both in life and in business. I've loved watching Katie's evolution, hearing how everything has clicked into place and knowing that everything that's ever happened before and part of her has led her to this, even if she didn't realize it when it was happening. It's powerful to hear this hindsight revelation, isn't it? You know, it's a very similar experience for me with this podcast, knowing now that so much of what I do is happening and built on the 4 decades of running WindowWorks. It's all connected. The path is there, and every event informs who and what we are. Maybe you can see a similar path in your life. Maybe the things in your corporate job led you to and inform your work as an interior designer. And maybe you can see that through line. It's satisfying when you see it, isn't it? Knowing that you're bringing all of you to something, and together all of that you're bringing makes what you're doing now all the better. Maybe, though, you're still waiting for that click, for that clarity. It's okay. It's all part of you and the evolution of you. Don't rush yourself, but do challenge yourself. Every breath is an opportunity for meditation, for self-reflection, to get to know you, like Katie encourages us to do. So, wherever you are in your journey now, take a deep breath. Everything is as it should be, and everything will be okay. I also love that Katie shared how meditation can look different for everyone, and it can take various forms depending on the stage and the season of life you're in. I know that many of you are juggling countless responsibilities and may not always find the time for a dedicated practice, and that's perfectly okay. What matters is that you take a moment, even if it's just a few deep breaths, to center yourself and to find stillness among and amidst the chaos. Center your mind. Honor your highest self. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and overlook the importance of self-care. However, as entrepreneurs, it is critical. It is important to remember that your business can only be as good as you are. It's important to nurture your own well-being because your health impacts the health of your business. It reminds me of another Katie, Katie McDonald, another Power Talk Friday expert, one of our speakers at LuAnn Live. And we'll link her episodes in the show notes for you. Katie coaches busy women entrepreneurs like you exactly on this, telling us self-care isn't selfish. It's integral to the success of your business. If this is striking a chord, then go back and listen to those episodes with Katie McDonald. We'll link them in the show notes. So, as an act of self-care and business care, give yourself permission to carve out time for self-exploration and self-reflection. You heard my aha today. I've been exercising my entire life. This is a part of meditation for me, and I have recommitted to it in this past year. And I love it, not just because it feels good, but because that is a form of meditation for me. It's where my ideas flood and come from. But today, Katie helped me understand that if I also take it one step further, possibly through quieter meditation, I might be in a better position to distill and refine those crazy ideas that bubble up, right? We need to breathe and be present and trust that our inner goddess, the universe itself, will guide us to what we actually need. I hope that you'll take a small step today to cultivate a deeper connection with yourself. Please try one of Katie's many guided meditations. She really is just so talented. She's inspiring, empowering, calming, and rejuvenating somehow all at the same time. I don't know how she does it, but when you listen to her, you will know exactly what I mean. And trust that even small acts of self-care, like listening to one of Katie's guided meditations, can ripple out and create big shifts in your business and your life. Make sure you visit her site, womensmeditationnetwork.com, so that you can scroll all of her podcast titles and find the one that's right for you. Now, I have a bonus bit of information for you, and I have to say I'm really excited to share this with you, and I'm so grateful to Katie and honored to tell you that Katie has invited me to record a guided meditation for her Morning Meditation for Women podcast. I mean, can you stand it? I cannot stand it. Katie and I have been going back and forth on Voxer, and I'm just so stupidly excited about it. It is insane. And of course, I'm working on what my guided meditation will be, so it's just right. And I have to say, you have to check it out only if you can see if I can really talk slowly and calmly. Vinny doesn't think I can do it, but I'm going to show him I can. It will be out in June or July 2024. And I will be sending you an email announcing it, and I will be posting it on my Instagram and in my Facebook group, because I'm ridiculously excited to do this. And I hope you will listen to it and share your thoughts with me after it comes out. Now, before I go and before I thank my friend Katie again, if you are listening to this in real time, we are kicking off the Road to 1,000 on this weekend. The Road to 1,000 starts this weekend. That's right. Soon we will publish our 1,000th episode of this podcast. That is me and you, the last 8.5 years, doing our thing together, and we're going to celebrate it big time. Beginning this Monday, the 20th, this is May 20th, 2024, we're counting down with our very best shows over the years, starting with the 5 most listened to shows of 2016, then 2017, and 2018, and so on. Now, we're not airing them on the podcast again. So you have to be on my email list, because we're going to give out the links every week to the email list so that you have easy access. We'll also be announcing it on Instagram and Facebook, in my Facebook group, okay? Now, on the day of the actual 1,000th episode, which is July 12th, 2024, on Instagram, we will do a robo raffle, giving away $1,000 towards a Power Talk Friday ticket and $1,000 to any LuAnn University class. I mean, crazy, right? Now, understanding this giveaway is a robo raffle for all the people on my email list. We will give it away on Instagram, but if you're on my email list, you're entered. No purchase necessary, no download to sign up for, nothing to do or nothing to commit to. Because if you're on my email list, you're part of my community. You're part of this podcast. And this is my gift to you for being in this with me, for being part of this thing that we have created, for your part in getting this show to 1,000 episodes. So if you're on my list, sit tight. You're entered. And if you'd like to be on my list, you can find the link for that in my show notes. It's perfectly fine to join the list now. We also have a link on my website, and it's probably in my Instagram bio as well. Who knows? I'll bet it is. Okay? So I hope you'll do this. I hope you'll follow along. It's so exciting to see what are the 5 most listened to episodes of each year. It's so crazy. You might be surprised. You might say, yeah, I could have guessed that. Either way, it's a ton of fun. There you have it. That's it. Katie, I have to say, you calmed us all down and got us all like in a right headspace. And then, you know what? I got us all riled up again. I can't help myself. I'm going to do a good job, though, when I do your meditation, I promise. But this is why I bring in trusted experts like you, Katie, on the show. You just bring a perspective and a thought process and a way of looking at things that always enhances us and brings and lifts us up. Katie, I can't thank you enough for being here with me again today. I am so eternally grateful that the universe brought us into each other's lives and businesses. And thank you for listening. I hope you can feel the thankfulness pouring into each of you. This show is for you. It is yours. And you make it amazing for me to be able to do this with you. Thank you. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn and Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.